So if everybody has introduced, still if you want to introduce, you can still go ahead before we introduce our speaker for today. Speaker will be introduced by Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji, Aditya Narayan Prabhu. So Kirtida Sundari Mataji, are you there on the call?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much for warmly welcoming us, Hari. Thank you everyone for joining us. So today we are really fortunate to have His Grace Aditya Narayan Prabhu with us on the call, and he will be enlightening us through Srimad Bhagavatam. So just want to give a brief introduction, though he doesn't need it, but still, he is the disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj. He was initiated in 2008 in Orlando, and he fortunately got both the initiation all together. And he's been serving in Orlando Temple for quite a few years, and he is right now serving Shri Radha Golokananda in Golokadham, Hillsborough, North Carolina, as a community president, and also is a wonderful book distributor. Basically, he is a leader, and he is conducting a very wonderful, seminars, this training for a book distribution, and always inspire everybody. So I think so if I go on glorify, the whole class will be on the glorification of Aditya Narayan Prabhu. So I should stop myself. But yes, he's a wonderful Vaishnava, and he is living a wonderful Grahistha ashram with his wife, Her Grace Ratna Radhika Mataji. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for coming on the call, for accepting our request. And now you can please take over. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, and Hare Krishna to all your devotees. My humble obeisances to all of you. Mataji, I don't deserve any of your words about me, but I just pray to all the Vaishnavas that I can progress in my spiritual life. So, Hare Krishna. So today we are discussing Canto 3, Chapter 33, and today we'll be reading text 27. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So 3.33.27 Nityarudha samadhitvat paravrita guna brahma na sasmara tadatmanam swapne drishtam ivotitah. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Situated in eternal trance and freed from illusion, impelled by the modes of material nature, she forgot her material body, just as one forgets his different bodies in a dream. I'll repeat the translation. Situated in eternal trance and freed from illusion, impelled by the modes of material nature, she forgot her material body, just as one forgets his different bodies in a dream. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A great Vaishnava said that he who has no remembrance of his body is not bound to material existence. As long as we are conscious of our bodily existence, it is to be understood that we are living conditionally under the three modes of material nature. When one forgets his bodily existence, his conditional material life is over. This forgetfulness is actually possible when we engage our senses in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In a conditional state, one engages his senses as a member of a family or as a member of a society or country. But when one forgets all such membership in material circumstances and realizes that he is an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord, that is actual forgetfulness of material existence. This forgetfulness actually occurs when one renders service unto the Lord. A devotee no longer works with the body for self-gratification with family, society, country, humanity, and so on. He simply works for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. That is perfect Krishna consciousness. A devotee always merges in transcendental happiness, and therefore he has no experience of material distresses. This transcendental happiness is called eternal bliss. According to the opinion of devotees, constant remembrance of the Supreme Lord is called samadhi or trance. If one is constantly in trance, there is no possibility of his being attacked or even touched by the modes of material nature. As soon as one is freed from the contamination of the three material modes, he no longer has to take birth to transmigrate from one form to another in this material world. Hare Krishna. Om Agyanati Mirandasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manopishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavavsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsya. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Charu Swami Ti Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Ti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatari. Hare Krishna. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve all you wonderful Vaishnavas. And I would request the blessings of all you wonderful Vaishnavas that we can discuss a few words on this beautiful verse here. So we are actually coming to the end of this section of Lord Kapila's teachings to Devahuti. And actually it is particularly referring to this verse 27, it is good to go back and see how this journey started. And this is actually the journey of Devahuti, from her initial state to this is like kind of she's come to her final perfection of her life, And we have like so much to learn from this journey of Devahuti. Okay, so actually, if you remember that how this journey started was when Devahuti actually told Kapila Dev that actually I am disgusted with material desires. That was the first point she said. And the second point, she requested Kapila Dev that please dispel the illusion of the concept of aham mameti, the concept of I and mine that is actually binding me to this material nature. So these were the 2 points she actually started this journey back. She was actually feeling that I'm disgusted with material desires, and second, I want to dispel the illusion of aham mameti. So this, just to, this journey is so beautiful that we can actually learn so much from the journey. And the first 2 points in our journey is one should actually feel disgusted with material desires and feel that yes, oh Krishna, I want to get out of this material nature. I want to come again in my service to you. So these two is kind of a start of a journey, of material journey, right? And then in response to these 2 points, then Kapila Dev has given detailed instructions, and we have been reading the last, I think 6 or 7 chapters where Kapila Dev gives wonderful instructions, and all his instructions, like he talks of Gyan Yoga, but also in Gyan Yoga, he actually concludes, the Sankhya Yoga, he concludes to the point that actually, I think we went through, we would have discussed this in detail, but he actually talks of the different material elements, and then he talks of like the interactions of Jiva, Prakriti, and then Purusha, and then finally, Devahuti says that actually we are Jiva in this material nature. How is it possible for us to actually get that detachment from the Prakriti? How can Jiva actually be detached from the Prakriti? And to that, actually, Kapila Dev said, the only way that is possible is through Tivrena Bhakti. That is through intense Bhakti. Okay, so he starts with Sankhya and concludes with the point of Bhakti. And then finally he makes the point that actually Bhakti Yoga is the only auspicious path. And it is only Bhakti Yoga that will give the complete perfection for every jiva. Okay? And what is the main point of Bhakti Yoga that he says? And then he quotes that famous verse which you often say. And he says the main aspect of Bhakti Yoga, the main secret to progress in Bhakti Yoga is Tatam Prasanga Mama Virya Samvido Bhavanti Rit Karna Rasayana Katha Tat Joshanat Aswa Apavarga Vartami Shraddha Ratir Bhakti Anukramasati. That just by in the association of pure devotees, when we discuss all these wonderful pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then that discussion, that Hari Katha in the association of pure devotees will actually take us to the stages from Shraddha to Rati. Rati is actually a fixed attachment. And then Bhakti, right? And then Anukramashriti. So one can actually progress through all the stages of Bhakti by this secret, by association, by hearing Harikatha in the association of pure devotees. And that verse also says that such hearing is actually very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. Okay? So that was just like kind of an overview of the teachings of Kapila Dev. And then finally we see in this verse, actually the last few verses I'll just mention. So starting from 23 onwards, so we are in 27, so 23 onwards, we see how Devahuti has taken these instructions of Kapila Dev to heart, and she's actually executing those instructions. And how is she executing? Actually, if you see the main key words from 23 up to this verse, we actually see her mood in which she is actually following the instructions of Kapila Dev. And each one of these points is actually so practical for our devotional life, you know. And the first point in 23, she says, thereafter, having heard with great eagerness. So that's the first point here. That how did devotee hear the entire instructions? With great eagerness. And that's the same thing, like when we actually hear classes on Srimad Bhagavatam, hear our Guru Maharaj, hear Srila Prabhupada speaking, we have to hear with great eagerness. Okay, that's the first thing. Then second point here in 24 and 25 is how did she follow those instructions? She actually engaged in bhakti, and she did so with serious engagement in bhakti. Okay, so bhakti is not like some kind of hobby that, okay, once in a while we do it. It's actually a serious engagement. It's a serious commitment of our life to, okay, this entire life I'm just engaged completely in bhakti. You know, serious engagement in bhakti. And then after that, the point was, she is described that because she was strong in renunciation, she accepted only necessities of the body. So we'll discuss this point further, okay, but just for now. So the third point here is she was strong in renunciation, and hence she accepted only the necessities of the body. And then the fourth point was she was actually situated in knowledge. Okay, situated in knowledge. And then further it is described in text 26, and in this way she actually became fully absorbed and her mind was completely engaged in bhakti. So all these keywords in the last few verses actually shows how devotee actually took up these instructions of Lord Kapila Dev, and very, very instructive to us and very inspiring to us that how we can actually practice bhakti yoga. So just I'll go through the list again. So first is hearing with great eagerness. Then second one, serious engagement in bhakti. Third, strong in renunciation, accepting only the necessities of the body. Fourth point, situated in knowledge. And fifth point is fully absorbed and the mind is completely engaged in bhakti. Okay, so these are the 5 points, and this is how she actually followed the instructions of Lord Kapila. Now in today's verse, we are seeing the result of this kind of bhakti. Okay, and 2 main points are given in verse 27. One is she is situated in eternal trance. Okay, she is actually situated in eternal trance, eternal bliss. And the second one, she is actually freed from illusion. Okay, so now if you actually go back to the starting of the journey, Devahuti actually started off by questioning Kapila Dev that I am disgusted with material desires, right? And to that point, having followed the instructions very sincerely and seriously, what is the result now? So disgusted with material desire, and now the result is situated in eternal trance. You see from where she was and where she is now, right? So disgusted with material desires to situated in eternal bliss. And then the second one, the second point she said is dispel illusion of aham mameti. Dispel illusion of the concept of I and my body. And here the point is actually explained that she is actually freed from the illusion and she forgot that concept of aham mameti. Okay, so we see how beautifully she started with the 2 points which actually were her troubles, and now she has attained the perfection, the exact opposite of those 2 points. She is situated in eternal trance and she is freed from illusion. Okay, so now we'll go through the Prabhupada's purport. So Prabhupada gives a beautiful purport to this verse. The first point actually Prabhupada says is a great Vaishnava said that he has no remembrance of his body. A great Vaishnava said that he who has no remembrance of his body is not bound to material existence. Okay, what does it mean to have no remembrance of body? Okay, so one can actually, like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually, towards the conclusion in the 18th chapter in text 61, Krishna actually makes the point, Ishvara sarva bhutana vriddeshu arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudani mayaya. Okay, that Krishna actually says that I am situated in everyone's heart and we are actually wandering through this body. The body is actually like a machine. It's a machine made of material energy. Okay. So what does it mean, no remembrance of the body? So we'll make few points here. That what does it mean to actually understand this point? The first point is to actually theoretically, to actually understand the knowledge that actually we are different from the body. The body is just a machine. Just like we may have a car, we are separate from the car. Similarly, we are actually separate from the body. And one can actually analyze this further based on the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, that how the body, our real identity as spirit soul, is Sat, Chit and Anand. It is eternal, it is full of knowledge and full of bliss. And if you see the characteristics of the body, it is exactly the opposite. Right? It is temporary, it is Nirananda, it is a instrument to give us suffering, right? And it is full of ignorance. So if you see, the soul and the body are actually that way diametrically opposite in their characteristics. And just understanding this point, we understand that, okay, I actually have nothing to do with this body. I am different from this body. Okay? And so Prabhupada explains that as long as we are in the bodily concept, then we are actually conditioned by the 3 modes of material nature. Okay, so why are we so attached to the body when our properties, our characteristics is exactly opposite to the body? It is because of the uncontrolled mind and the senses. Because we have so many desires which are actually separate from our real self. Okay, and actually in Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, Arjuna actually asked Krishna that, like you're telling me all about this karma yoga, and this karma yoga is so wonderful. But why do people not take up this karma yoga? Why is everyone impelled to do sinful reactions? And to that, Krishna actually makes the point, kama esha, krodha esha, rajaguna samudbhava. That basically he says it is lust only, Arjuna. And that lust is actually explained by Prabhupada as a desire to enjoy separate from Krishna. So it is this desire to enjoy separate from Krishna that is actually causing us to be attached to this material body and this material conception of life, which is actually the real cause of our suffering. Okay, and actually one example one analogy that comes to my mind is actually, let's say if you go to watch a movie. I know this is devotees, we don't do that, but to watch a movie in a theater, just to understand this point. So if we are in a theater and we are watching a movie, and if we actually identify ourselves with an actor in the movie, then if we are really thinking, oh, I am this actor, then if the actor is hurt, then we feel pain. And then if the actor is experiencing some so-called happiness, then we feel happy, right? So similarly, but a person of intelligence knows that, oh, you're just experiencing the emotions of that actor, but actually you have nothing to do with that actor. So this is a nice analogy to understand that actually we have nothing to do with our body. Okay? So this point needs to be explained further because we have a body, so we cannot just ignore our body. So what does it mean for devotees to forget our body, to have no remembrance of the body? Okay, first is to understand that yes, I am different from the body. And next point is to actually understand what is the purpose of this body. That yes, okay, I am not this body, but right now the soul is actually covered. My real self is covered by this body. So what is the purpose of this body? Then as Bhagavatam, there's a beautiful verse, I forget the Sanskrit, but it actually says the body is like a boat that can take us across this material ocean to the lotus feet of Krishna. Okay, so we understand that the only purpose of this body is actually, it is a wonderful instrument that I can use to actually serve Krishna. It is a boat that can take me across the material ocean. Okay, and then in that mood, in that understanding the purpose of the material body, then we actually take care of the body because it is an instrument to serve Krishna. So we take care of the body as an instrument of service for the Supreme Personality of God. Okay, and how do we take care of the body? There are so many points, but just one point I'll mention from the Gita, how in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually talks of regulation. And he says one should be regulated in one's activities of eating, sleeping, recreation, and working. Okay, so that's a very nice principle that devotees we can follow as a principle how we take care of our body. Okay. The second point about taking care of our body is to actually work on the Isavasyam principle. Like Ishopanishad actually makes the point, Isavasam idam sarvam yakkincha jagatam jagat tena tatena bhundita magrita kasya siddhadhana. That we understand, we actually accept only those things that are actually set aside for us as our quota. So our interaction with the material nature is based on this Isavasyam principle. That we know that, okay, whatever Krishna is giving, I'm happy with that. I'm just going to accept that and see how I can use that in Krishna's service. Okay. Also to this point of like forgetfulness of the body, like having no remembrance of the body, one very nice pastime of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, and very, very, very much related to this concept of, forgetting our bodily existence, is that of Sanatana Goswami. So Sanatana Goswami actually, he went from Vrindavan all the way to Jagannath Puri, and while actually he was going to Jagannath Puri, he was crossing Jharikanda forest, and then during the way he actually drank some bad water, and because of that he fell sick, and basically his body had there was kind of like ulcers all over his body, and they were like, it was like oozing, there were like some pus or some material coming out from his body, And then, so his body was in a bad condition. And then in Jagannath Puri, whenever Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to see Sanatana Goswami, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to embrace Sanatana Goswami. And then, imagine Sanatana Goswami, like his bodily fluids used to touch the beautiful body of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was thinking that, oh, I'm so fallen, like, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I came to serve him, get his association, but now I'm just causing offenses that my horrible body fluids are actually touching Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body, And then he was thinking in this way that, this is just the opposite. I came to serve Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and just making offenses. Maybe I should just give up my body by falling in front of the chariot of Lord Jagannath, And he was just thinking this. And the next day, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and said, the thought of giving up your body is actually not right because your body belongs to me, So that is a very nice meditation. And further in his past, like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells Sanatana Goswami that I have so much service to do through your body. Hence your body is actually my property. And he actually tells Sanatana Goswami that point, that I will actually personally maintain all my devotees. So very nice point for us to understand that how this body is just an instrument, and the only purpose of this instrument is to be engaged in the service of the Lord. Okay? And if we actually have that consciousness, then the body is actually Lord's property, and the Lord will actually maintain it. So we can have that conviction that yes, Avasya Rakhi by Krishna. Krishna will protect me, and Krishna will actually maintain me. And these are actually also two aspects of surrender. Okay? So that is the concept of here how it is explained, that how Devahuti, she actually forgot her material body. And then also example is given, just as one forgets his different bodies in a dream, right? And also in Bhagavatam, few places, our entire material existence is actually considered as a dream, because we just take one body and then give it up and then accept another body, and just we are going on and on, right? Just like in a dream, we may think that, oh, I am so and so, and then we wake up and we're like, oh, I am not that. I was not that. That was just a dream, right? So our material existence is compared to a dream, not so much that the material existence is false, but to relate to the point that how it is temporary. Like how in a dream one may experience that, oh, it's so nice, I'm in so a nice place, I'm in Hawaii, enjoying, and oh, this is so wonderful. When we wake up, it's like, oh, that was just a dream. So similarly, our existence is that way a dream. It's very temporary, right? Hence, we should actually consider, what is our real purpose? Our body is actually meant for serving Krishna. Hence, I will just engage my body in service of the Supreme Personality of God. Okay? Okay, so that is the point of material body. And as long as we are actually in this bodily consciousness, then we are, like even as sadhakas, if we are actually engaging in bhakti, but at the same time we actually do activities which are, for sense gratification, for, getting that temporary pleasure, then it is like Bhakti Saraswati Thakur actually gives an example. It is just like, rowing the boat with the anchor down. We are trying to get out of the material world, but the more we engage in self-gratification activity, then we are actually leaving the anchor on the base, right? So this example, that one way one can say, oh, the boat is not even moving, so we are doing bhakti, but at the same time I have these desires, so should I do bhakti or not? No, we should still do, because any act of bhakti is always auspicious, but we should at the same time try to engage bhakti as Devahuti did, with a completely pure mind, right? With a purified mind, and she was completely engaged. Okay? Now, the next point that Prabhupada explains is how can we actually get out of this aham mamiti concept? How can we get out of this bodily concept of life? And Prabhupada says, well, the formula is this, which he repeats almost in all the purpose, is actually to engage in bhakti yoga, right? And how do we engage? And Prabhupada basically is like explaining the word sarvapadi vinimmaktam tat paratena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti uchate. That bhakti actually means to engage all our senses in the service of the Lord, right? Who is actually the master of the senses, right? So rishikesha means the master of the senses, and rishikena means purified sense. So when we actually engage all our purified senses in the service of the master of the senses, then that is bhakti. Okay. So how do we get out of this bodily concept of life, this aham mameti, the problems that Devahuti was experiencing, the disgust with material desires and the illusion of aham mameti? How do we get out of that concept? By engaging all our senses in the service of bhakti, right? In the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And actually, Prabhupada, by mercy of Srila Prabhupada, he has actually created this wonderful ISKCON society where we have like unlimited opportunities to come and engage in bhakti. This is actually Prabhupada's biggest gift to us, that he has made this wonderful society where there's so many opportunities that, okay, you can go to a temple and I can cook for the Lord, I can clean the floor, I can make garlands for the Lord, I can sing for the Lord. There are unlimited opportunities to engage our senses in the service of the Lord. Okay? So that is bhakti. So once we engage, the main point is when we engage our senses in bhakti, then we will actually forget this body, and then we can forget this bodily existence, and then we can actually progress very quickly back to Godhead. Okay? And Prabhupada says that when one actually works only for Krishna, he simply works for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is perfect Krishna consciousness. Rupa Goswami actually says, Iha yasya hare dasya karmana manasagira nikhila api avastaso jivan mukta sochite. Rupa Goswami says that if actually one engages one's mind, body and senses in the service of the Lord, then he is actually liberated even in this bodily existence. Even in this present existence, we are Jivan Mukta, we are liberated, because we are engaging our body, mind and senses in our real constitutional engagement, in our real constitutional position of service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. Okay. And also another point, Rupa Goswami, like even in Nectar of Instruction, in the introduction, Prabhupada makes this point that he actually talks about, becoming a Goswami. He said, like, we all should become Goswamis. What does that mean? And he actually says, he explains in the section that the attitude of the devotee is actually the secret of how we progress in bhakti. Okay, the attitude is very important. And what does it mean, the attitude? There, when Prabhupada is explaining, he's actually talking of how one can control one's mind and senses and engage our purified mind and senses in the service of the Lord. Right? So at that point, attitude there refers to that really strong desire that, yes, I want to get purified. Krishna, I want to be engaged in service. So if we have that attitude and at the same time engage in different kinds of varieties of service for the pleasure of the Lord, then we can very fast progress in our spiritual life. Okay. Another point here that comes to our mind, Prabhupada says he simply works for Krishna. Okay. So one may say, like, I have so many other engagements. I have family, I have work, I have this, I have that. How can we actually engage everything for Krishna? And one nice point is, a very nice practice for devotees is to offer everything we do to Krishna. And this is so powerful meditation that before we start any act, we should just say, okay, I am offering this act to Krishna. Okay, and then that actually creates our mind, creates our consciousness that actually what I'm going to do now, whatever work I'm doing, this is actually for pleasure of Krishna. And this is a very powerful meditation. And can you offer like going shopping to Krishna? Well, yes, you can say I'm going to shop so that I can buy something for Krishna, or just so that I can maintain my livelihood, so that I can serve Krishna nicely. So actually, can you offer your work to Krishna? Yeah. Before going to work every day, you can say, Krishna, I'm doing this for your pleasure. For your pleasure. So if we offer everything that we do, there's nothing that's outside that, everything that we do in Krishna's service, then we can actually engage in service of Krishna with the right attitude. Okay. And then our entire life becomes bhakti, and then there will be no longer remembrance of our material existence, our material concepts. Okay. Now, in the last paragraph, Prabhupada explains a devotee always merges in transcendental happiness, and therefore he has no experience of material distresses. So one may read this and say, like, well, I'm practicing bhakti for so long, I still experience material distress. Well, it is like we are on a journey. How devotee, she went through the journey. And a result of her journey is she has achieved these 2 points. She is situated in eternal happiness and she is free from all illusions. Right? So just by studying these pastimes, throughout Srimad Bhagavatam, we have these wonderful examples. And here we have the example of the journey of Devavati. By studying this, we say, like, wow, she actually attained that highest perfection. So as I progress on bhakti, even I can achieve that highest perfection. And, Krishna actually, he uses this point in Bhagavad Gita when he actually, in the 4th chapter, he says, Janma karma cha me divyam, evam yaveti tatata. And then after he says, like, one should just hear about Krishna, his birth, his activities, and so on. And after he tells Arjun, actually he says that many people in the past have achieved perfection through this process, and hence you should take it. So even Bhagavatam is actually giving us. So Bhagavad Gita gives us, like Krishna says, so many people, but where are those people? And Bhagavatam is explaining that in detail. That here, see, devotee had these problems. We all have that problem, and here by practicing bhakti, you can actually attain that highest perfection. So as we progress in bhakti, we will actually come to the stage of always being merged in transcendental happiness. Okay? And while we are going through this journey, right? So one can actually even cultivate this mood. That how just said that bhakti should always be done in a happy mood. Bhakti is always done susukam kartum avyayam, happily. So whenever we are engaging in devotional service, we do it happily. That yes, thank you so much, Krishna, for giving me an opportunity to serve you. I am very, very grateful. So if we have that mood of gratitude to Krishna, then we'll be happy while engaging in bhakti. Okay, that's one point. And another point, like practical point, is how Lord Brahma's prayers in 10th canto, he says, Tatenu kampan susamikshamano. That's a very nice word that we can apply in our day-to-day life. That, if problems come, we say, oh, Krishna, you're so kind that this problem was supposed to be so big, but you reduced it for me. And in that way, we actually develop a further gratitude. So even while we are going through problems, we can actually experience Krishna's shelter, Krishna's mercy, and be happy in those situations also. Okay? And then Prabhupada explains that constant remembrance of the Supreme Lord is called samadhi or trance. So if we actually can engage our entire life, following Devahuti's example, by engaging in bhakti, by serious engagement in bhakti, by hearing from devotees, by being fully absorbed, in our chanting, in our sadhana, in our day-to-day, bhakti activities, then we can also come to the stage of being in the highest stage of samadhi. Normally when we talk of samadhi, people have so many different concepts of samadhi. They say, oh, samadhi means you have to go to the forest and then at a particular stage you will attain the stage of samadhi. But no, Prabhupada has actually given us that even in our day-to-day life, while we are living our life, we can actually be at that stage of samadhi. And he has not only given that point, but he's also given the facilities to be actually engaged to attain that perfection. Okay. And then Prabhupada says that when one is actually in that consciousness of always being engaged in service, then there is no possibility of his being attacked or even touched by the modes of material nature. Another practical point that is yes, it is, this is good to hear, but how can I always be thinking of Krishna? How can I always be engaged in bhakti? Actually, just wonderful point to meditate on from Prabhupada's life. This Prabhupada actually quotes the verse from Bhagavad Gita where he says, Vyavasatmika buddhi ekehe kuru nandana. And he says, actually this verse inspired me. He said, this is a real secret of success, that one should be 100% engaged in the mission of his Guru. Ekehe kuru nandana. So actually this is a very, very nice practical point, that we actually make our life as a mission to serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada stressed so much on book distribution. And, we have practically seen that when we actually go out for book distribution, and if we have a goal that, yes, I want to read so many books, I want to distribute so many books for Prabhupada, then our consciousness is that we actually throughout the day we are thinking of how can I increase, how can I distribute these books? We are actually in that consciousness. And hence Prabhupada stressed on book distribution so much, because when we are actually engaged in that seva of book distribution, you are always thinking that how can I give the precious gift that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought to this material world to everyone. And we are continuously, Prabhupada said, one should actually tax our intelligence, engage our intelligence, how we can actually spread Krishna consciousness. So if we actually take the mission of Srila Prabhupada to our heart, that yes, this is my goal of life, this is my mission in life, to actually serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada, then we can always be engaged in Krishna consciousness. Our entire life can be, yes, it is for the mission of Srila Prabhupada. And in that way, we can actually always experience bliss and always be engaged in Krishna consciousness, in bhakti. Okay? So I'll just quickly summarize and then we'll stop. So we actually started off that this verse is a beautiful, we are coming to the end of Devahuti's journey, where she started off with disgust of material desire and the point of requesting that please dispel my illusion of aham mameti. And we see that this verse is concluding with Devahuti's success, that where her disgust of material desire as it's now, she's actually situated in eternal trance, and her dispel illusion of aham mameti, and she's actually now successfully being freed from illusion that she's actually forgot her material body. Okay, and then we actually talked about that how Devahuti, how she practiced bhakti is a very practical point that we can actually take it in our sadhana. When we discussed points where she said, where Devahuti said, I heard with great eagerness, she engaged in bhakti very seriously, and then she was strong in her renunciation that she accepted only necessities of the body, and we discussed the Isavasyam principle, and then she actually was fully absorbed in bhakti. Okay, and then we talked about like what does this verse mean when Prabhupada says that a Vaishnava said that he who has no remembrance of his body is not bound to material existence, and we discussed few points and how this body is just an instrument. We have to understand that we are separate from this body, and the body is a machine made up of material elements. And what is the purpose of machine? It is a boat that can actually take us across the material ocean to the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then we take care of the body in this, understanding this principle, that we regulate our life by eating, sleeping, working, and recreation, like the regulation in these 4 activities, and we work on the Isavasyam principle that is given in Ishopanishad. Then we also discussed how the story of Sanatana Goswami and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, because you have given your life to me, I will maintain you, I will take care of you. Right? So that's a nice principle that we can not worry so much about material things, material maintenance. Krishna will take care. We are engaged on the path of bhakti, Krishna will take care. Okay, and then how can we actually come to the stage of where we forget our concept of aham mameti? By engaging in bhakti, right? Rishikena Rishikesha Sevana. That's our main principle. And I mentioned how Prabhupada has given us this wonderful facility to actually be engaged in this bhakti. Okay, and then we ended with the point that how devotee is always merges in transcendental happiness, and we mentioned that how through the life of devotee we can feel very hopeful in our spiritual life that yes, if I keep up this path, then how devotee attain this eternal blissful life, even I can actually attain that eternal blissful life. Okay, so I'll stop here. If there are any comments, any questions, or any corrections, please you can all. Yes. So thank you all so much for giving me this opportunity. If there are any comments and questions, we can take it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanvat Pranam. Thank you so much for such a beautiful and wonderful class, Prabhuji. How wonderfully you explained the problems of Devahuti and how she overcome and how we can, really apply it in our life. So thank you so much. It was really very wonderful class. Very well presented. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanvat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Dhanvat Pranam.
Wonderful class, Prabhuji. And very nice points you quoted, like this body is not belongs to us, and we have to use this body in the service of Srila Prabhupada. So thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Okay. So if there are no other points, then we'll stop here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanvat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. It's a very, very instructive class, and it's a very lot of practical things, Prabhu. I like the point. A lot of points they are very practical also. I like the point that from the beginning you were telling how we need to regulate our life, first of all, to practice the Bhakti Yoga, and then also you were telling the attitude of the devotee means that always our spiritual life is depend on the attitude of the devotee, means how we need to be more fully surrender to Krishna and tell him, means I want to purify myself, Krishna, please take care of me. Means that point I really like. And also Prabhu that was telling 24 hours engagement, means that was very nice answer for me. I mean, Vivesatmika Buddhi Eke Kurunandana. That is very, very practical for me, Prabhu. It's a very wonderful class. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing your realization. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Adityanarayan Prabhu. Very nice class, Prabhuji. Very inspiring when you said about how we should develop our faith on Krishna, and Krishna will take care of the rest. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very nice class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for sharing your realization. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, all good Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev.
Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you for wonderful class. Very inspiring. It's work in day-to-day life. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
You said very nicely, you said by the purified senses, we do the devotional service and then practice Krishna consciousness. So then we can get the goal. We can reach to the goal. And you also gave the process of purifying the senses. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we end here.
Hare Krishna. So are there any more comments, any more questions, any add-ons? Okay, thank you so much, Prabhuji, once again, and we really seek your association more often. Please do grace us by your presence on the call, and thanks to everyone for joining us. So we'll end up here. Vancha kalpatarubhasya
kripasindhave evacha patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnava Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Grace Aditya ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.